Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Noreen Galeria. Welcome to today's discussion on the important question, is wellness only for the privileged? This is a topic that affects us all, and I'm so fortunate to be part of this diverse and really remarkable panel to explore it from multiple perspectives. Our panelists will tackle this issue from a variety of angles. Each of us will offer our own unique lens on how wellness doesn't have to be only for the wealthy, but something that can be achieved more widely through awareness, education, and accessibility. I would like to start the session off by introducing Dier de Caja. He is a mental health provider, an owner, and an operator for the last 23 years, and he has extensive experience in mental health and holistic self-care as a certified SFBT counselor. Dier believes that we must change our minds to change our lives. To start us off, could you please give us a quick overview of the barriers to wellness that you see in mental health, whether it be in Cameroon or in California?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I picked this panel on purpose because I feel this is one of the biggest problems with the inner city youth that I work with. They don't have the resources that others have. So I feel that when it comes to is wellness only for the privileged, what's the definition of privileged? What does privilege mean? Privilege means you have the ability to get things that others can't get. Okay, that's what makes it a privilege, okay? It's not a right. It's not a uniformed ability for someone that's homeless in Washington, D.C., and they're not worried about their depression. They got a toothache, okay? And I'm like, hey, let's go to the dentist. I haven't been to the dentist in 3 years, okay? But I have a ruly checkup every 6 months with my dentist. So it makes us think, dang, in perspective, everyone doesn't have the same dental care. Okay, now let's talk about, I'm in Cameroon, Africa. I've been in Cameroon for the last 10 years, doing a wealth of things, but to stick to the topic, in the village, there is no running water. So the first thing I realized, I now appreciate water. The government cuts off the power grid. I don't care if you're rich with a mansion or if you have a hut. When the government wants to cut it off and you're paying your bill, that doesn't happen in America. So there is a disparity between the wealthy and the underserved, the underprivileged. So what 7P Healthcare does, I meet the clients where they are, okay? I invested in 2 15-passenger vans so I can go pick up the homeless. I feed the homeless. I bring them to my office. What's the catch? My therapist can now pick them out after they eat and do their therapy session, okay? We now have the ability to have our 12 therapy group sessions, and then I provide them transportation back home. Because what did I find? Mr. D, I would have loved to come to the session, but I didn't have any gas, or I don't have transportation. So I try to take the excuse away from my clients by meeting them where they are. But why do I have to meet them where they are? Because they're underserved and they don't have the same privileges as the client that comes at 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock after they get off work and they meet with me. So I think that's the big disparity that we have to understand. It is for the privileged, and how can we as a panel and as a group and as a village, because it takes a village, figure out how we can bridge the gap. So thank you. And what I would like to do now is take the time to introduce another extreme panelist, Mrs. Sherry Tismel, and she holds a master's degree from Harvard, and she is a multi-award winner entrepreneur and is a passionate health coach. As the founder of CEO of Optimum Health Pro, she specializes in the cutting-edge health and wellness technologies. So what I would like to ask her, Sherry, as someone that is deeply involved in premium health innovations, is it truly for the wealthy?
Thank you for that introduction, dear, and thank you so much for what you've shared. I just want to jump on from there because now I just want to say that this question is so relevant to answer today, especially that some longevity clubs and wellness centers actually charge upwards of $20,000 a month just for access to the latest and greatest health technologies, and these exclusive spaces promises the like cutting edge solutions for health optimizations. For example, with modalities like hyperbaric chambers, PEMF devices, contrast therapy, and there's so much more. But the truth is, the benefits of using these technologies are not really that out of reach, as it may seem. These technologies are usually or often inspired by or mimic actually the benefits that nature has already been giving us. So for example, in Optimal Health Pro, we specialize in premium and advanced wellness technologies. But the thing is, it doesn't give or creates anything new. These are all that we can all get from nature. And just to break it down as an example, let me start with PEMF, or pulse electromagnetic field, if you've heard about it. This is one of my favorites for recovery. So basically, this technology uses electromagnetic waves to recharge your cells. But then we can actually replicate this benefit by just grounding, by walking barefoot on the soil or on the sand. We could connect to nature's natural electromagnetic fields. It's really ancient wisdom. It's just magnified or amplified by technology. Next is hyperbaric chambers. So inside the hyperbaric chamber, we increase the oxygen levels inside our body. But truly, again, if we get into nature, have deep intentional breaths, and the ocean, and the mountain, and the forest, it's very similar benefits. Next is the theta chamber. If you haven't heard about it, it's this big equipment. It spins you around to get you into a theta state. But again, truly, we all get into a theta state upon waking up. We get into there. And if we meditate first thing in the morning, we also reap that benefit of tapping into the healing state, restorative state of the theta. Last example would be the vibration machines. These could go upwards of $15,000. But then really, what is this? It stimulates lymphatic drainage, better circulation. And we could do this by manual lymphatic drainage, by jumping in a rebounder, by dancing, by exercising. And truly, it cannot be overemphasized that exercise, movement, is one of the very best things we can do for our health. And really, the key takeaway here is technology, they're remarkable, they're great. They could supercharge, what we already have. They supercharge the innate intelligence of our bodies to heal itself. But it is not the foundation. The foundation is really, again, what is already free and available to us. And again, to answer the question, is wellness only for the privileged? Obviously, it's not. It's a no. Because wellness is for the intentional. Wellness is for those who choose it, and it is for those who are willing to prioritize the basics and really tap into the resources that we already have in here. Thank you. So next, let me introduce Dr. Nightness. So Dr. Nightness is a medical doctor from Nigeria who also holds a professional master's degree in clinical genetics and is currently on the path of obtaining her PhD in human genetics at the University of Maryland, Baltimore. So my question for you, Dr. Nightness, is what's your comment on genetic testing becoming more accessible to everyone?
Thank you so much, Sherry, for that introduction. Good evening, everyone. Commenting on genetic testing, we all know that prior or previously, genetic testing was considered luxury, like made accessible and affordable to just a few people who had the money to pay for it. But now, thanks to the likes of 23andMe, Ancestry DNA, we now have genetic testing becoming more available to everyone around us. And now there are also digital health platforms like Habits, which is now Veome, or DNA Fit, which can help combine genetic data to make well-informed health choices regarding habits, diet, exercise, and sleep. So genetic testing is actually becoming more available and more accessible to everyone around.
Can you help us understand how our lifestyle choices intersect with our genetic makeup? And how can we utilize this to live healthier lives?
Okay, so I'll start by saying that our genes, there's usually this misconception that our genes, in a way, determine our destiny. There are some phrases like that, but really, our genes, yes, it informs us, but it doesn't necessarily determine what we become or who we become. Because we have genes and we also have environmental factors like diet, exercise, supplements, and stress management. So living healthy is a combination of all these factors. I particularly love this example. So let's take, for instance, a cardiovascular disease. We have two individuals. Both of them have equal genetic risks of having, say, for example, heart attack or high lipid levels. And individual A doesn't eat healthy. Sedentary lifestyle, no exercise, smokes, alcohol, doesn't manage stress properly, right? Compare it to individual B, who makes healthy life choices, a lot of exercise, stress management through mindful practices, and doesn't smoke, doesn't take alcohol, and is conscious about those health choices. Who do you think would live healthy? Or who do you think would not come down with that particular disease? Definitely individual B, who made more healthy choices despite being predisposed to having that diseases. So it's a combination of everything. It's all intertwined. We can't lift one way above the other and the likes. So we need to integrate healthy lifestyle choices, and along with genetic testing, which is now becoming more available and more accessible to everyone, to make well-informed and personalized choices. Thank you. So moving on to the next panelist. Okay. So I will be introducing Dr. Gabriel Debunking. He's a U.S. Air Force Iraqi veteran and a leader and pioneer in medicine, healthcare services, and clinical research and AI. He holds a doctorate degree in public health from Wharton University and a Master's of Science in Biostats and Epidemiology. He also holds a postgraduate degree in biomedical informatics, and he is a certified public health educator. He wears a lot of caps, you know. And he is also the founder and chairman of CMFIT Global Health Consulting, which is part of the CMFIT Global Group servicing people with disabilities and the elderly. He runs a community clinic and a clinical research program to improve health, community health, and enhance global social change in the US around the globe. So my question for you, Dr. Debunking, how would an average person, or how can an average person keep an overall good health without spending a lot of money?
Very, very good questions. Yeah. Thank you very much. Hello?
You can use
Hello, hello. Okay, thank you very much for the panel, and thank you to the conference and everybody attending. Pretty much it's very easy. Information, education. Regardless of your class in a society, if you're informed and you're educated, you're most likely going to save yourself from a lot of trouble. Preventive care and preventive medicine is the way to go. People should know, everybody in this room, including myself, we have 99.99% of similarity into our genes. Only 0.1% difference between us. I'm talking about female, male. Gender, race, the same. So that difference is biologically and statistically significant, so that each one of us respond to food, drug, pharma in a different way. It's called pharmacogenetics. So when we eat food, our genetics will respond to it differently from one another, only based on that 0.1%. So if somebody knows, people are educated, you don't have to have a lot of money, that every single day you have to have the proper carbohydrate, the proper proteins, the proper lipid, fatty acid, the proper vitamins, the proper minerals, the proper fibers, and water, of course. The difference here is where are you getting those supplements? That is the issue. You got to come from natural resources. A lot of people, like early today in the panel, people were talking about turmeric. Turmeric, you're getting it from a natural source, a raw source. It will save you from inflammations, including black pepper, they talk about. Carrot, prevention from eye diseases. So you have to have that knowledge to know where to get your food from. Because a lot of us don't know. Benzopyrene, it is a toxin that is found into our food today in the US. And benzopyrene is a toxin, is a chemical found into nicotine that they make cigarettes with. Cisplatin is another chemical toxin found into substance used for chemotherapy. It is found into our food. So if people are informed what type of food they're eating, what is in your food, we will save ourselves from diseases. And that is called preventive care. It is a social ecological model which dictates it starts from self-awareness. Self-awareness. Regardless of what you know, you have to be self-determined to know what you want. I want to be healthy. I want to be able to see my grandchildren. I want to be able to live longer, to be an inspiration for other people. So that comes with a sense of try to find how to make it happen. And it comes into education and informations. So, for example, Steve Jobs have a lot of money, but he died from pancreatic cell disease. But he have access to all of the medical supplies and clinic. So money is not really the solution. It's part of it. But knowledge is. Knowledge is. If God come today and ask me, son, I'm talking about the Father of Jesus Christ. Son, do you need $1 billion or you need knowledge? To be honest with you, I would say knowledge. Do you know why? Because with knowledge, Bill Gates, with no degree, is a billionaire. Because of knowledge, Steve Jobs, a billionaire. Because of knowledge, people like Mark Zuckerberg, a billionaire. They don't have all these degrees, but they have knowledge. Jesus Christ also did have knowledge. He didn't have degrees. And today, some of us don't even understood his language. So that is how people are able to survive with the lot of money you have, to exercise often. You got to be consistent. Don't exercise Monday and then you wait. You have to be consistent. If it's Monday, stick with Monday. If it's Tuesday, stick with Tuesday. If it's every two days a week, skip those days. It will work. You will see the result. Perseverance. You see the result. You can do meditation and prayer. It's very important. Your mood also plays a very good role into your overall health because it sends a signal to your body as a sense of frequency, electromagnetic field, because everything is broken down into energy. Everything we eat goes back to energy when it penetrates into the blood to access the cells. It all goes back to energy. So, as somebody said, your spirituality counts. If you believe whatever you believe, meditation or prayer, it will help. You have to practice it. It helps the body. Self-determination. Somebody will say, are you sick? No, I'm not. You already saved yourself. Tough mantle. You're sending a signal into your body to start processing an auto-repair mechanism. What we get from outside, only supplement what is already in the body. The body itself will self-repair. But over time, like a copy, if you make a copy of a copy, it will be lesser and lesser degraded. So, but that's how our DNA is. Our DNA are. It go over time, it get a little bit older, and then start losing some of its component. With the supplements coming from the right source, from the natural raw alimentations, you will be able to revive faster and to recover faster and prevent yourself from diseases. And that will save you money and time, and you live longer. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to our panel, a minute, Dr. Noren Galeria. She is a board-certified dermatologist with a laser and cosmetic fellowship and has been in practice for more than 20 years. She is also the CEO and founder of Inner Glow Vitamin A, dermatologist and plastic surgeon, developed brand of skin nutraceutical, is that how you call it?
Yes, nutraceuticals, yes.
So, yeah, that's good. Thank you. So I have a question for you, Dr. Galeria. I would love to hear about how the average person can improve and maintain skin health without spending a fortune.
Thank you. You know, it's interesting. I think I tend to deal with a bit more of a high-end clientele. And, you know, when I listen to Dier, I think, you know, honestly, wellness is for the privileged. Like, let's just be honest. As I'm sitting on this panel, I have like middle class to upper class patients, and, you know, everything we've talked about here, right? We talk about you need a good diet, and you need exercise, and you need to sleep 7 to 8 hours a day. And if you take my supplements, you're going to age better. And we talk about all that. But honestly, you know, what Dier is talking about is, you know, he's in the weeds, right? And I think that in America, do we do a really good job of really making sure that wellness is for everybody? I think we could do a little bit better. And so, you know, when I talk about what is available to my patients, I will say yes, for the patients that I am treating, who are middle to upper class, you know, these are people who are coming in and they're saying things to me like, well, you know, this is a movie star who just had a great transformation, think Lindsay Lohan, you know, and how do I look like her? And, you know, and when I start recounting like all the stuff these patients are going to have to do, they will make a comment to me like, well, you know, this is further proof that the stars are not better looking than us. They just have more money. And so when I think about a clientele like that, I think, well, I can take things that I would give to my high-end population and really bring them to a middle-class population. Honestly, a single mother who doesn't have food to feed her child, or you know, somebody who's struggling to make ends meet, I just don't think they're worried about skin health. You know, that's the honest truth. And, you know, I think as a physician and a dermatologist who treats a lot of skin cancer, I do a lot of free care. It's part of the ethos of our practice. My husband goes on 3 humanitarian missions a year, and we go to places like, I go to marathons and landscaper conferences, and I will go to summer concerts, and we do free skin checks on whoever wants them. And we have deals with our pathologists where if I see somebody for free and they need a biopsy, then they will see them. You know, they will do the pathology for free, for example. And I think it catches a group of people that I wouldn't otherwise be treating. And I think my husband really catches a group of people. He's been to places like Haiti, the Dominican, Afghanistan, Gaza, you know, places during earthquakes. And he really does, you know, serve a lot of patients that way. But I will say that insurance makes it harder and harder because we're struggling to see our patients. It's harder to get, patients in who are not being charged. And so I'm going to say, yes, healthy living is something that we can all strive for. But I think in America, there is still some privilege. I mean, I think that's the truth. I don't know if you have a comment.
Well, when you were speaking about that, about the middle class, in D.C., 7P Healthcare teamed up with a dentist, Dr. Edward Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And if you heard my story, there's several of our clients that are homeless that haven't been to the dentist in 4 years.
Right.
That's madness, right? Like, how could you think that? But that's the problem with us as clinicians. We want to put our perception, our ideologies, and our beliefs and values onto our clients, and we can't. We have to really meet them where they are. So let me give you an example. We do a giveaway with a food bank, and I sit there and watch the people. I'm a 35-year vegan, haven't had flesh since 1995, okay? I don't eat any processed foods, I don't eat any refined sugars. So we have the carrots, we have the broccoli, we have the cauliflower, we have the bag of beans, and I will sit there and watch them take all the canned goods and leave all the vegetables. And I'm like, wow. So even when we try to give them the resources, it's right there on the table for them to grab. They still grab the bad stuff. And Doc, it is about having the knowledge, but I think knowledge is also a privilege. So, thank you.
And I also think it's a little bit about starting young. I don't know how you guys feel. My kids used to do these presidential fitness awards where very early on in elementary school, they're being taught that, these are the milestones you have to hit from a health perspective for exercise. This is what you should be eating. I think they've since taken that away, but I have to say I used to volunteer a lot at the kids' school. It changed a lot of kids' behavior. So yes, I think knowledge is also a privilege, but if we can get to kids at a place where, many of them are, I do think we can start some of these habits early.
It's true, but then again, just sounding off like with what you said, that here in America, I did not grow up here, so I do see the contrast. Here, it is actually quite expensive to choose the healthy the options. I mean, even if I try to tell my kid, this is healthier than the processed food, the price of the healthier option is actually more. And again, I just want to also mention that coming after your talk, it was a little bit like off, but just because I mean you're in the weeds and you're in the in the real, very real thing. And I guess with what I'm dealing with, again, like these technologies, these wellness clubs, longevity, people who are into longevity, into biohacking, sometimes it honestly, and I've been with a lot of them, and you could actually get out of touch of that reality. It's really because, you get so excited, and I'm, maybe I'm a little bit guilty of this before. You get into all these technologies, what's the latest, what's the best, could this, how do I stimulate my vagus nerve? How do I get all the red light therapy, photobiomodulation, and all that? How do I lengthen my telomeres? Again, these are all for longevity. But truly, somebody could be, investing hundreds of thousands of dollars into all these treatments. But if your nutrition, your sleep, your movement, and your social connections, actually the social connections, it's so important. If those are out of balance, all those investments won't have a return that you're expecting. So it's the fundamentals are very important. I guess on the free side that I was talking about, it's really just about checking into, again, our social connections, or just trying into getting into nature, and that's the best thing that we can do, the most accessible thing.
So true.
I can totally relate to what. I can totally relate to what the doctor from what you said. Because I grew up in Nigeria, and I practiced in Nigeria as a medical doctor for about 3 years before coming in here for my PhD. While he was talking, I actually recounted an episode. I was on call at the O&G department. So a woman came in, she was in labor, and she came in with nothing. She didn't have any material with her. She came in with just 50 naira. Like 50, that's our currency, and that's like less than 0 point something dollars here, maybe like 10 cents here. And I was like, okay, you're having a baby, you're having an emergency, and you don't even have money to buy cannula, like set line, and to give you basic things like fluid. So I totally get it can be really, really bad. And in that regard, I kind of agree with what Dr. Galeria said when he said, well, maybe wellness is for the privileged. But we need to find a middle ground. Yes, not everybody is privileged to have the money to make or to live well or take nice supplements to glow like Dr. Gloria. But I believe, like he said, healthy lifestyle choices. Fruits, as minute as fruits and vegetables are, they do a lot of magic. You can decide to say, oh, I'm just going to eat fruits this week, and your skin will glow, trust me. So you will be healthy, you will feel happy. Just taking a 30 minutes walk every evening, wow, you guys should try it. It's really mind-blowing. You'll feel so happy and just settled. So there are little things that we can actually tell them to do. They don't have to have all the money in the world to be healthy, but meet them where they are. And that's the whole idea of personalized medicine. Let me meet you where you are, based on what you can afford. How best can I help you? How best can I help you lead healthy lives? So I don't know, before he rounds up, do we have any question from the audience? Okay.
Just listening to the whole panel, I appreciate you all having this discussion. From in my point of view, it's kind of more of a comment, whatever. But the privilege, I feel yes, healthcare can be for the privileged, but at the same time, knowledge can be for the privileged too. But I feel that we can tap into our own knowledge, which is better than the money aspect, because we have great grandmamas, great granddaddies that knew knowledge of how to live in longevity, to be able to, they knew about the herbs, they knew about the nutrition, to be able to have longevity of life, to have, I mean, they live a long time, you know. If you want to go into the Bible times, they live hundreds of years, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, they knew what to do until these days and so forth. So, you know, we do have that the privilege of knowledge. We just got to go back and get it and bring it into today's time. So I just wanted to make that comment. Appreciate you.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
thank you so much. So
Good. That's very good, this work. Pretty much, like I always said, everything refer back to, for me, to the Bible. God, the Creator, started with family. It means He's the knowledge, He's the higher knowledge. Everything He does is perfect. It means He knows. Everything starts with family. You have your children, you raise them well. All of us here are the fabric, the products of a house. We all have mother and a father. They teach us, they show us the way, according to the principle, maybe put, regardless of what they believe in, Jesus Christ or Buddha or Hindu. Everything starts with the family. There's no excuse. The social ecological model is a model who start with self-awareness, then family, then the society, then the entire country and the globes. It is a process of everybody togetherness, to work with the same denominator of improving one another. If one is out, it will affect the entire model. Like she said, you help the person where he's at. Yes, there's a differentiation privilege and non-privilege. But the gap can be reduced with knowledge and willingness to seek for what we want. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.